What's going on, guys? McRaptor here. We are doing another guide in Demon Souls Remake, this time on the Maneater Boss in Area 3-2. We're going to show you how to do this both with a straight-up melee build as well as a magic-based build as well to cover all the bases. First up is the melee build here, and your first objective really when fighting the Maneater Boss is to get that tail cut so that he doesn't get some additional poison attacks, which you do not want. They do a lot of damage. So your basic thing here, just get that tail cut as soon as you can, and then you should be good to go for the rest of the fight. Very, very important. The number one killer on this fight is actually Mr. Cliff. Falling off a cliff, falling off the ledge here, gravity is what kills most players on this fight. So you really want to make sure that when you're fighting the Maneater that you're trying to roll, dodge, and stay positioned in the center of the platform as much as you can. Do not dodge left and right off the platform. That will be the surest way for a quick death. And then obviously you want to do as much damage as you can to the boss as quickly as possible, because as soon as he goes into phase 2, his friend will come, and you don't want to deal with two Maneaters at once. It's very difficult to win this fight with two up. So use your highest damage melee weapon that you have. It's helpful to buff your weapon with magic or fire damage as well. They are weak to both. I think they're a little bit weaker to fire, so fire is the better option overall. But either way, just buff your weapon or come in with a melee weapon that already does magic or fire damage, and it'll do pretty solid damage to the boss. I'm using the Claymore here with a magic buff. You can use a lot of different things. We'll have the full build in the video description if you want to get more info on that. For phase 2, once you've defeated the first one, there's a lot of different ways that you can handle this. Just to keep it safe, I like to kind of bring him into the center platform as soon as I can. So I'll get the tail cut ASAP, because if you don't get that done, again, same thing as phase 1 Maneater, you will deal with new attacks that you don't want to deal with. They do a ton of damage. Of course, the Maneater Boss will fly away and do super annoying things. One thing I will note, if you happen to have the Thief Ring on, it can really bug this fight out. And so while it will give you a lot of downtime to heal up and reposition and things like that, you probably don't want to have the Thief Ring on for too long, especially in phase 2, because he will fly away and lose you entirely. So right here, I'm dragging the second Maneater to the center here, and we're just going to kind of move him around here, do an attack or two to counterattack him, but other than that, it's just let him dodge around, get a shot in, dodge again. It's actually fairly safe on the center platform here. You could potentially fight the phase 1 Maneater here as well, if that's helpful for you not rolling off the ledge. Since there's less space here, he typically will just charge you. He'll do a lot less of the projectile attacks. And then, of course, he'll occasionally annoy the crap out of you by flying around the boss arena. But he basically just does this over and over again. The nice thing about the Claymore is that it has very long range and a fairly fast attack. You know, it has a little bit slower attack than a smaller sword, but it's got long range, solid damage, and so it's just really nice against this boss here. So that is how you fight the Maneater using a melee build. Next up is the magic version. When you're fighting them with magic, note that fire damage does do slightly more, because they're a little bit more weak to fire than they are to magic spells. So recommend bringing in Fireball spell if you can. If you don't have it, that's okay. You can use Soul Ray. It works quite well, actually, as well. And it attacks a little bit faster. The Fireball, as you can see, is a little bit slow. It's not too bad, but it does a lot of damage. And when he kind of floats in the air around the pillars, you can deal a ton of Fireball damage, which is great. So the more he does that, the better. You can also bring him to the center platform, as we did with the melee section, which can be helpful. You can kind of snipe around the center bonfire there, but not required at all. We do have the Thief Ring on here, which does bug him out a little bit. Sometimes you want to have that unequipped on this fight. Like if they just go off into like Never Never Land, you need to kind of reset the fight. So that's something that you need to worry about. But that's mainly a phase 2 issue. For phase 1, the first Maneater seems to kind of stick with you. You just want to make sure that, as always, you DPS him down as quickly as possible before you get the second one. And then we're going to get the tail cut in here again with the Crescent Falchion. Very, very important. Again, you don't want to have that those poison attacks coming at you. Like, you basically want to limit him to the charge and the projectile sort of sonic attacks and the slam downs. Those are enough to deal with. You don't want poison on top of the rest of that. So, and you also, as you can see, want to make sure that your controller is charged, because midway through this boss fight, our controller went dead on us, and we had to very quickly grab our second one. So don't forget to charge your controllers prior to the boss fight. Other than that, like, it's just pretty much rinse and repeat. You can take him to the center platform if it's easier. See right here, you can see the thief ring is like really throwing him off. He does not know what's going on, so we're trying to get his attention. Taking the thief ring off will typically get him back right to you. But, you know, the thief ring does help you if you're having trouble finding good opportunities to heal up or get your magic up, things like that. So you can kind of unequip it to get his attention. And then if you want to put it back on, you can. As you can see, he's still flying around like an idiot, because that's what Maneaters does. Remember, the Demon Souls remake didn't really fix any of the AI for any of the bosses. They're all as dumb as they were back in 2009. But they look so much better, so that's okay. Yeah, this is just what you have to go through, guys, to see pretty bosses that don't know how to attack you. Anyway, just keep going at it, using magic and melee attacks when it makes sense. You can do this fully with spells as well. You don't have to ever use any melee. I do recommend at least getting the tail cut though, which you can do with spells. So it just seems to be a little bit easier to do it with a weapon, but it doesn't really matter at all. My favorite thing on a range-based build though is when they do kind of hang out on the side of the pillars. You get a lot of free damage in, or if they land like super far away like that, then you get like 2 or 3 shots in, like easy, and then they are gone. So that's how to beat the Maneater boss in Upper Latria in 3.2. Hope this was helpful, guys. We have tons and tons and tons of more guides on Demon Souls Remake and other Soulsborne games over at ggsouls.com, and of course on the YouTube channel here. If this video was helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.